Gloria, Gloria. Shine your light on the children, Baha'u'llah. They're over here, Baha'u'llah. Shine your light on the children, Baha'u'llah. Gloria, Gloria. Shine your light on the pioneer, Baha'u'llah. They're over here, Baha'u'llah. Shine your light on the pioneer, Baha'u'llah. Gloria, Gloria. Shine your light on the world, Baha'u'llah. We're over here, Baha'u'llah. Shine your light on the world, Baha'u'llah. Gloria, Gloria. Shine your light on the here, Baha'u'llah. We're over here, Baha'u'llah. Shine your light on the here, Baha'u'llah. Gloria, Gloria.
Shall we shine our light on Molly?
Shine your light on Molly, Baha'u'llah. She's over here, Baha'u'llah. Shine your light on Molly, Baha'u'llah. Gloria, Gloria.
Okay. Our light is shining.
We're going to do two things. First, we're going to do Blessed is the Spot. We've all learned it. And then we're going to sign it for you. And then we have a skit that we think summarizes what we've learned this year. So I will read Blessed is the Spot. Shaka is going to help get us through it. All right? Now, I'll say it, and then you say and sign. Okay? Follow Shaka. Blessed is the spot. And the house. And the place. And the city. And the heart. And the mountain. And the refuge. And the cave. And the valley. And the land. And the sea. And the island. And the meadow. Where mention of God hath been made and his praise glorified. Very nice.
Very good.
Yes, now we have a, where is it, Mother? Are you speaking? Let's everyone on the floor, except people were still in bed. One of the Baha'is awoke and looked out the bedroom window. He called his friends as he saw Abdul-Baha in the empty street below. Suddenly, a poor man passed by. His clothes were thin and torn and very dirty. Maybe he had slept that night on the cold pavement or under a bridge and had no one to look after him. Abdul-Baha walked up to that lonely old man, held his dirty hand, and spoke to him lovingly. something should be done about them. He went into a dark porch, okay, right here, and took off his own trousers, which he wore underneath his abba, and gave them to the old man. Take off your pants.
That is pure.
For real. You got it.
That is pure.
You have something under it.
Zero. No. Shalwar. Or shalwar.
He went into a dark porch and took off his own trousers, which he wore underneath his abba, and gave them to the old man. No. This is very serious. May God go with you, said Abdul Bahai. Thank you. Very nice.
Had to prepare something, but this was the group, and throughout the year we studied about the different prophets, and as we learned about the different prophets, we also learned about what it means to be a Bahai. So we studied different laws of the Bahai faith, the different institutions, the elected and appointed institutions. We learned about the Israel, our holy land, about the temples, about the early Baha'is, so about the history of our own faith, about holy days. So every day that we had a class, we learned something, and that's what we did.
We're studying the covenant. What is the covenant and what is the anti-covenant? And to reinforce the concept of what a covenant is, the class made a covenant contract. And we divided up the class time into different periods. And their reward for sitting through all the different work they had to do was at the last part of the class they got to play games. So, and I worked out very well. Really good. Part of the covenant also, part of what we studied was consultation. So part of the class period of covenant time was devoted to consultation. How do you consult and consulting with each other on problems that come up in your lives? Then we went into a few of the tenets of the faith, for example, prayer, need for prayer, and God and the universe. Then we went into some of the history of the faith. And that's what we did.
Thank
Who
you
are
very
your
much.
students?
Yes, we had the teacher for adults.
Adult class started by deepening on the Rizwan message from last year. And then we did the booklet called Freedom and Responsibilities in the Baha'i Faith. Read that and studied it and deepened on it. And then we did the small booklet on teaching institutes. And kind of in the middle of that, around April, around the time of the elections, we did a deepening that had been published in the American Baha'i on the spiritual nature of Baha'i elections. And then we ended the year with the Rizwan message from this year. Started with the Rizwan message and ended with it. And it was a wonderful class. We did have a nice group of people who came regularly, and in between we kind of had visitors who came to join us. I enjoyed teaching very much and got a lot of sharing went on from all of them. There's one of your
And I thought that you were great teacher. Of course, she's my sister.
I don't know the history of the school. We only talked about it once ago. We just know a little bit about how many children we have in class and when it started. I know the goal.
Well, it started in the fall because the class program was going on.
Could we have quiet so that we could hear?
Thank you. And there were, let's see how many, 1, 2, 3, 4. There was children from Montgomery and from Belchertown, South Hadley, Hoyoke. Oh yeah, a non-Baha'i.
12 kids that Linda gave me that came.
A non-Baha'i from Amherst, little boy. And what they did is they started with SNAP in the beginning. And then they had them go in a circle and they did 3 prayers, one in English, one in Farsi, and one in Spanish. And then we have a little activity for them. And they really enjoyed it.
done such a wonderful job. You know, every year we will give her and every year is getting better and better. The awards are getting better and better. So I would like to start with the school. Linda is not here, so I would like to ask somebody from Holyoke to come in, and we will give the awards to the students from Holyoke. Starting with, as I said, as far as the program is concerned, Linda was supposed to be here. Unfortunately, she's not. So why don't we start with the... we do have the list here, but... Well, we will have the certificate. Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, see, these some of the names, but when they for the delay, we had to find a certificate that was already done, and it was my mistake not being able to locate them. We will start with the school at Holyoke, and we will start with Nicholas Shamey.
Nicholas, we'll give you a shake hand.
Christina Munn. Basically, we are supposed to give the children a Bahai book. Unfortunately, the books are not here yet. But we will give them a certificate. They present this certificate and they receive their book. So, Nicholas, is yours. This one is also yours.
What do you say? Nick, what do you say?
What did you say?
Nicholas. Yes.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, no.
Marzier Wallace. This is the certificate of accomplishment, and this one is the certificate for the book. Robert Wallace. Where is Robert? Anis Weinstein, he's not here, and Betty Weinstein is not here, so we'll give the certificate to...
We can ask David to read them or Vicky.
Yeah. David takes the pleasure of giving it to them. Clara Hedayat is also a student out there. She's not here. I will take the... I will have the privilege of giving it to them. So. Mona Mahdavi. Yeah. Mona Mahdavi is also not here, unfortunately. And Wahid Mahdavi is not here either. So, yeah, two Mahdavis.
Yeah, it works.
And we have Yvonne Sologol. He's not here. And unfortunately, and we will give them to Linda so that she will give it to them. Dave, I think you're taking all the certificates.
Make it to award with
Groups, which I think we have three teachers. We have had three teachers in this class, and they have done a wonderful job. We really appreciate what they have done throughout the year. If you like to come in, please, Wilma, Minu, and Kim. We're going to start with Anissa Nicole. She's not here.
Thank you.
And next person is Riyaz Dini.
Please shake hands.
Shake hands and thank you. All the three teachers. All the three teachers. All the three teachers. Jeremy Hilliard is not here, but we will give him the certificate. I think Mino will do that.
Well, there's Mr. Andros over there. Do you think he could take it?
Where is Mr. Oh, it's not.
Mr. Andros.
Oh, sure. Mon Fan is the next graduate. So we'll give him the certificate as well as his certificate of accomplishment. Sean Fan is not here. Also. Next person is Emily Richter. Cindy Santa.
Next girl, thank you.
Andrew Schmidt.
I knew it.
Thank you.
Alia Wallace.
Thank you, Aria. Next girl.
Oh, you dropped
Next person is Jana Brown. Colin Chad Perry. Now this concludes the middle one. Okay, I would like to ask Vicky to come here and help me distributing the certificates. We're going to start with Behrouz Ruhi. Order, please. Order, otherwise you will hear my bell. Order. Hillary Chottery. Becky Deragon. Anna Hilich. And the last but not the least, John Santos. Thank you very much.
I'll give you a high five.
See you class. award will start with Hashir Mugatta. Shadow Mugatta.
I want to pause it.
Abraham Pierce. And Sarah Berkel is not here either, but I will try to Okay, this concludes the ceremony for giving the certificate. I would like to present the Teachers Award. We have some roses for the teachers. We will ask the secretary for the committee, education committee, to come forward and present these roses to the teachers. We should give a big hand to Fred because he always has been volunteering to do this. All his work, so we have to give him the credit for it.
Nobody else did anything. I did it.
Well, we were going to give Linda McCurry a rose. Unfortunately, she's not here, but Davy is here. Okay, for primary group, Minu Mugaddam, please. Miss Wilma Krieger, please come. And Miss Kimber Richter, please come. They have done such a wonderful job. For middle group, we will have Becky, please. Becky, she did a wonderful job. She was always on time. And for the youth or pre-youth and the song leader, we have to give her 2 roses because she had 2 responsibilities, both the song leader as well as the teacher. It's Becky Chateri. For the adult class, Miss Bonnie Brown, she did such a wonderful Okay, here it says, for Vice Principal, Mr. Rashid, I think what I have to do, Chris, I have to give you a flower myself. And Nina Kini, unfortunately, is not here. I will take she will be here. And Principal Dini will receive one rose for the wonderful job, for the person who did a wonderful job making us the certificate, and that is Sue Andros.
Yeah, I'll see her.
We have more roses, I think, as you walk out, you will receive 1 more rose, it's kind of cool. But this concludes the presentation of Teachers Award. We would like to close with 2 prayers, 2 closing prayers, and I guess that's it. Thank you very much. 2 closing prayers, please. 2 volunteers we have, Colin and Vessel. Okay, 3, we will have 3 or 4. That's all right.
And besides the person
whirl.
Whirl, whirl.
Oh, such a
A third. There's one third. Here's another third. We're going to do it 3 parts.
All right.
You get to start. Yes, yes. Yes, yes. We're going to do it that way. Wait a minute, Timur. Let me finish. You start. You second. You third. But we're going to do it once through, together. Come on, join us.
Yeah, get over here with your group. Get over here with your group.
We're going to do once through together. Your group one. And then we're going to do it twice. It is around. Okay, so each person will tell, you're going to sing it a total of 3 times. Okay, now, that is the first song all of us. So I know you. No problem. Are you comfortable with you? Can you hear me? World. Everybody got that note? Yeah. Little high. All right. World. Little low.
You're outside.
World, world, world. Why do you reject your Lord? When will you receive your Savior? World, 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 world. Why do you reject your Lord? When will you receive your Savior? That went quite well. You're learning to hear your own part, especially when you're outside. It's very difficult to hear people around you because the sound goes up and rises away. Think about it in a house. The sound hits the walls and comes back to you, so you can hear the other people singing. But outside, it's very difficult. Why else do you think the Hollywood Bowl, they've got that huge, big band show? Makes the sound go out. But when you're like this, the sound goes up. You can't even hear yourself sing. Okay, what else are we going to sing? Okay, follow me.
Okay.
What verses are we going to sing?
Whatever ones
The ones you pick.
Sacrifice.
ones you lead.
Okay, first of all, we're going to sacrifice. What else?
G.
The word?
G.
No, love, love, love. What else? Sacrifice, follow me, Bahai. Follow me, be as I, Abdul Bahai. Teach, follow me, be as I am. Pioneer, Abdul Bahai. Follow me, be as I, Abdul Bahai.
So we don't need books. Everyone's got books. Well, that's true. You can follow. That's right.
What are leaders in this world without good followers?
A leader needs good followers, though.
Absolutely. Think about it.
Where would a leader without followers is not a real leader.
That's right. What's a real leader without followers?
An ineffective leader.
No one is get out of that train.
Good audience.
They say, you're an echo. There's less of you.
Okay. We're going to be without bringing flowers. This is really a wonderful place to have a garden party in memory of Patty, because Patty always had a very similar type yard as this, with lots of pine trees, and there's pine trees here and lots of flowers around. And I'll tell you a little bit about how she started having the garden party. This goes back quite a little way. Patty was born in 1905, and when she passed away in 1982, it was a day before her 77th birthday. For you children that are here, very few of you that I look around, very few of you, I think, probably remember Sarah. I'm sure would remember Hattie, and Michelle remember Hattie a little bit. I think you would have had to have been born around 1975 or earlier to have a memory of Hattie at the first garden parties that we had. But that doesn't mean that she isn't with us today, and that she isn't very happy seeing all the beautiful children that are here today to continue with her garden party. She was born in 1905, and please excuse this map. I'm not an artist, but I just wanted to give you an idea of where she came from. This is Massachusetts, if you can recognize it at all. Cape Cod and Boston, over here. Here you are in Springfield, in the western part of Massachusetts. And Hattie grew up in a little town called Webster, in the Webster-Dudley area. And that's almost central Massachusetts, just a little bit south of Worcester. Because she lived in the central Mass area, Hattie had a very special, I wish Linda were here today, because you all know how Linda pronounces words from the eastern Massachusetts area. Hattie wouldn't say Worcester, she'd say Worcester. And she did speak with a more of a Bostonian accent, and always spoke with very lyrical, with very, almost a song in her voice, always bubbly, always very happy. When she pronounced people's names, the accent was always on the first syllable, and I couldn't really do her justice by trying to imitate the way she spoke, but I think she would say Donna instead of Donna. And she just was, the word that comes to mind is she was an optimist, very, very positive, very, very happy, always smiling, always happy. She loved everything about this world, everything about life. She loved people in particular. She loved animals. She didn't have pet animals of her own, but she loved wild animals in particular. She loved the flowers. Of course, she loved the Bahai faith very dearly. Not only did she speak with a lot of excitement, when she wrote, whenever she wrote a letter to anyone, she used a lot of these. Almost every sentence ended with one of these, but she wasn't, do you know what this is? Andrew, do you know what that is? It's an exclamation point. It means a very, very strong feeling about something. But she wasn't content to leave it just as an exclamation point. She always had to put one of these at the bottom. Just to make sure that you understood that she was very, very enthused about what she was talking about. And in a few minutes, I'll pass around a few pictures that she had written on the back. And you can turn over the pictures and look at the back, and you'll be sure to see some of these exclamation point stars. But let's see, I want to get back to, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but she was born in 1905. If she were with us today, she would be 86 years old. But don't feel sad, children, that she's not with us today, because she really is. She very, very much believed in the Ata kingdom. She very, very much believed that people, their spirits are with us. They join us every day. They're sharing all of our joys and all of our celebrations. So I really do believe Hattie is here with us today. Her mother was German, and I'll just tell you one of the stories I remember about her childhood. I really don't remember that much about her childhood. her mother, I think, came from Germany and had a lot of her relatives in Germany still. And when Hattie was about 2 years old, her mother decided she really needed to bring her back to Germany for a visit her relatives, probably her grandparents. And this was a time when the only way to get over to Europe was to take a boat out of New York harbor and travel by boat across Europe. And Hattie, this was at a very serious time when there was a cholera epidemic. Especially in New York City, there was a very terrible cholera epidemic, and that's a serious disease, and people were really dying from this disease. And Hattie liked to tell the story about how her mother insisted she would go to Germany, even though she would have to go by way of New York City. Hattie's father was not very pleased with that. He wasn't happy at all. But they made the trip, and she came back safely, and she stayed with us for many years. So, I guess someone was blessing her right from the beginning. She did not catch cholera and she didn't come back. She often told that story. It must have impressed her about the dangers of travel back then and how much her father, she was an only child, and her father very, very much was strongly attached to her, didn't want to see anything happen to her. So that was one of her young memories that I can remember about. She had, when she married at about the age of 22 to Harold Chamberlain, most of the Chamberlains spelled their name with an L-A-I-N at the end. But this name was spelled differently. The A was left out somewhere along the line in the spelling of this particular family's name. They left the A out. So her name is Chamberlain, and we pronounce it more of a Lynn than a Lan because the A is out of it and it's L-I-N at the end of her name. Harold Chamberlain was a banker by trade, and they were married in June of 1927. They lived in Southbridge for a short time, and then they went to Three Rivers where they lived just about their entire lives together. In 1937, Hattie was introduced to the Bahai faith and became a Bahai in 1937. This is before World War II, so it goes back a long time ago. She met a person by the name of Alice Bacon, who was probably the first Bahai in the Central Mass area. She lived in the town of Munson. Well, it was near Palmer, right in this area here. And I think Alice was probably the first Bahai in that region. And she taught Hattie Chamberlain and Hattie's friend, Marge Greenway, all about the Bahai faith. And while Hattie was learning about the Bahai faith, she would leave little pamphlets and books on her husband's chair. He was a New England Yankee by birth, and that meant he was a very quiet man. He didn't demonstrate his emotions too much, and he was very quiet. And he would never even admit that he was reading this material. But apparently he was, because one day when Hattie decided to become a Bahai, Marge was there, and Marge Greenway's husband, who was a doctor, Dr. Thomas Greenway, was in the room, and Harold was in the room. Harold Chamberlain decided that he would go along with the girls, he called them the girls. And the three of them signed their declaration cards. But Dr. Thomas Greenway, who was a medical man and a scientist, very logical thinker, somehow couldn't go along with that. He wasn't ready. And he was the only one of the four, and they were a very close couple in friendship. He was the only one of the four that did not become a Bahai. And very sadly, when the Second World War broke out, Dr. Greenway decided to help out and serve in the capacity of a medical man. And he was involved in an accident that later he was injured during the war, not actually in combat, but from a boat injury. going over to the war, and later on died in his injury. So I'm not sure how old he was at that point, but Marge Greenway and Hattie continued to be very, very close friends, and when we met them in 1978, they were still both living in Three Rivers, Massachusetts. Hattie was actually living in Three Rivers, Massachusetts. Her husband had passed away just a few months before we met them. This was in 1978. Marge Greenway was living in Palmer, and they were still very active in keeping peace and having firesides. Hattie, in 1963, Hattie had an opportunity to go to London to the Bahai World Conference with Alice Bacon. Alice Bacon invited her to come along, and she took the opportunity to go. And she wrote, I didn't realize how lengthy it was. Hattie had a very strong point, and that was that she kept very meticulous records, very, very thorough journals and documents of everything that she was involved in. And I don't know quite how many pages this is, about 14 pages. And this is a result of her trip to the Bahai World Congress. Oftentimes she wrote them these as letters, long letters to friends to tell them all about it. And she was wise enough to make plenty of copies. And later on they just became wonderful documentations of the event. And Hattie, just to give you an idea of how Hattie was, she was very thorough about telling about this Congress, and she's writing a letter to a friend of hers. This is really a long letter to a friend. And to give you an idea of how she appreciated flowers, she broke from all her recordings and said, "Aren't we having a fragrant lilac year? All the lilacs are blooming profusely, even the littlest bushes." And at the very end, to show you that she was quite the dedicated homemaker and wife. And Harold had many years of being ill in which she wasn't very active because she had to tend to him, and she was very faithful and felt this was a very important role that she had to play at this time. But she always was there with Harold. In the end, she put, "And now it's time for me to prepare lunch for Harold. He will soon be home from the bank. We'll go back with him this afternoon to the post office, so you will have these in a day or so after I drop them off." So she also was very, very quick. She didn't waste any time. When she had something to share with someone, it was really out in the post the very next day. I remember these things about Hattie, and when I read that at the back of that entry, it just reminded me so much of what she was like. She did a lot of work with early believers and helping programs at Greenacre Bahai School in Elliott, Maine. I don't have too many details about that. I'm sure if I look deep enough, I'll find some documentations about that. But I know that she was very actively involved in Greenacre, and she liked to go there as often as she could. If she could, she would go annually to attend one of their seminars. And we had an opportunity to go with her for a couple of those years. I have a picture to show you of Hattie. She had a unique, and Hattie was very special, and she did different things. She had a very special hobby. She was a finger painter, and she actually was an exhibiting member of the finger painting group of America. I didn't even know that there was such a society in America, but she was an exhibiting member. I've been in touch with her family, and if I can sometime, I will try to get some samples of her work and share them with the high school. About her family, Hattie didn't have any children of her own, but she did have, there were two teenagers that she brought into her home. They were younger children of a very large family, a rather needy family, and she brought them into her home and called them her own children. And their names were Barbara and Roger. And I've been in touch with Barbara's family. She wasn't available to speak to her, but she is planning on getting back in touch with me, and I hope that I can get more information for you and some. Perhaps you'd be willing to share some of the fingerprinting so you can see Hattie's work. Now, about the garden parties in specific. Her husband, Harold, I told you he was ill for quite a few years, and then in 1978, which he died shortly before it would have been their 51st wedding anniversary. In 1977, they did have we didn't know them at the time, but they did have a wonderful 50th wedding anniversary celebration. And I'm very pleased that they were able to share that much of their lives together. But he passed away in 1978, and Hattie wanted to do something to remember him by. And that is why there was a garden party in June. They were married in June. And this would have been their 51st wedding anniversary. So Hattie decided to have a garden party and invite all the children and all the Bahai families and everyone that she knew to come to her home. And this is how she wanted to mark that special occasion each year. So 1978 was the very first garden party that she had. And she had 5 other garden parties after that before she passed away in 1982. These were all in 3 rivers. Nina, there was a banner that used to say Children's Garden Party. Some of you might remember the banner, because I know it was here 3 years ago, so it is around. But there is a banner that says the Children's Garden Party, and it's folded over on the bottom, because the bottom part, Sarah would remember, said 3 Rivers, Massachusetts. And that was made by a couple that lived in Belchertown at that time, Tom and Roseanne Buzzle. And they came to the very first garden party and brought that to Hattie. And she always had a group picture. She would get everyone, if she could, in front of that banner. And there would be a group picture. And she very carefully wrote down everyone's name. And I believe she always sent a copy of that to National every year. So these pictures have traveled far and wide. I understand that Diane Fay, who was Tom and Diane Fay, were Baha'is in the area from Michigan. And I understand that while they were out at a Baha'i school, I think it might have been WL, I'm not sure, they were looking at some of the photographs, and there was one of the garden party. So they have traveled all over the world, I'm sure of that. And another special thing that Hattie was able to do, and I'm so happy for her, in March of 1981, she got to go on pilgrimage with one of our younger Baha'i friends, Alma Carr. Alma's now married and is Alma Warner. Or was Alma Warner Carr, I think that's how it goes now. That is a married name. They went on pilgrimage together in March of 1981, and I have a picture to share with you of Hattie riding on a camel. She was 76 years old, but she was determined that she would do everything that she could while she was there, and so she actually was riding on a camel. And that just is indicative of Hattie Chamberlain. She was so full of life and would try anything at least once, taking camels. Hattie was very active in the Palmer Golden Acres group, and she had many, many friends, and she continued to go to church socials and very often went to Christmas services, and she always had a Christmas tree. And I think that also says something about how Hattie believed. She felt she was a progressive Christian as a Baha'i. She had no problems with her Christian background. She felt that in order to follow Baha'u'llah and be a Baha'i, she also had not to deny her past heritage as a Christian and as a believer in Jesus Christ. And she always had a Christmas tree because she felt she was still Christian, only she was progressive Christian. And I always admired that with her. She was very loyal and dedicated Baha'i, but she never abandoned her Christian roots or denied them in any way, and that's not the way it should be. Whatever background of faith we came from before we became Baha'i, there is no need to deny that in any way, that we are an extension of the culture that we originally came from. And Hattie very much believed in that. that was something I also remembered about her. And I think I'm pretty much done with my notes. I want to share some pictures with you. This first one was taken in 1979 at Green Acre Bahai School. They would get everyone together under the pine trees, and I don't know if they still do that. We'll send it around in circles. Green Acre Bahai, I don't know. Well, I'm going to... Now, Hattie was a very large woman, and she was very proud of that, too. She always had a smile, so I think when you look at this picture, she will stand out. There's no question who Hattie is in this group picture. Hattie always wore very, very bright clothing. And on one occasion in particular, I can remember this clearly. We had another Bahai in our area who passed away just 2 months before Hattie, and his name was Luther Lawrence, and he was a very dear friend of Hattie's and came to all the firesides. And Hattie came to Luther's funeral wearing a very bright pink pants, but that is just indicative of how Hattie felt about life and about death, that it was very natural, and the Alcock Kingdom was a wonderful place to look forward to. And she just stood out and was wearing beautiful Hattie smiles, and it just cheered people up. And I think that helped me 2 months later when Hattie herself passed away. I think that helped me to remember the way she was and not to feel sad, but to be happy for her that she was going on to a wonderful place. In fact, this is a clipping from a Pioneer Valley newsletter, and it was about Luther Lawrence, about his funeral services in Brimfield. And Hattie wrote this, and she wrote at the end, the skies were sunny and it was a lovely afternoon for his journey to the Alcock Kingdom. And that is exactly how Hattie was, very enthusiastic about life and about death. Here are the pictures. This picture here does not have the banner. The next one I show you will. This one was taken at Hattie Chamberlain's house. This was the first one in 1978. And I'll pass this around. You'll be able to recognize some faces in this group. Gladys Wheaton, who was a very close friend of Hattie's, who was in attendance at this funeral. If you look on the back again, you'll see the exclamation points with the stars. Hattie wrote that. And this one was probably in 1983, probably the first one at DeanCon. We wanted to continue the tradition of having a garden party after Hattie left us. So the following year, we started to have them for a few years at DeanCon in the Brimfield State Forest in Massachusetts. And this is probably the first one that was held at DeanCon. And you can see the sign, the banner that was made in this one. The bottom is folded up. It no longer says Three Rivers Mass, but it does say Bahai Children's Garden Party.
It's growing, and we thought, geez, we haven't really, when did it start? And, how long have we been in operation? And kind of, when we thought about finding out what the Hattie Chamberlain Garden Party, where that came from, and asked Donna to do a little bit about who Hattie Chamberlain was, we thought at the same time that we would start writing down some records to put in our, ambulatory Bahai School archives, right? So that as the school grew, in 10 or 20 years when it's this huge, big Bahai school, people would know how it began and what it was like at the very beginning. So I just kind of am going to tell you a little bit about how long we've been in operation and how the school really started. It started in 1984. Well, the pre-beginning of it started in 1984 when the Deanies of Wilbraham and the Mohaddams of Springfield started holding weekly Bahai classes just for their children. And these classes focused on studying the hidden words and their two families. Baha'is from the area heard about this, and the McKinneys expressed a desire to send their daughter to these classes, and the Faith, who were also in the area at the time, in Brimfield, I think, wanted to send their children too. So they kind of felt, well, gee, there's a need to have some kind of Baha'i classes in this area. So the year after that, 1985, a committee, which was just really a group of people interested in forming some kind of Baha'i children's school, got together. That first committee consisted of Nina, Minu, me, Donna, and Charlie McKinney, I think. And if there was anyone else remembers anything as I'm talking, please let us know afterwards so we can kind of insert it. Because as I said, we're going to try to kind of write this down and put it in our archives. And my memory wasn't all that good. So if anyone else remembers anything else as I'm talking, just let me know later on and we'll add it in before we field assembly. And the year after that, which was 1986, the Baha'i children's classes started to be held every Sunday morning at the Dini. That first year, there was a toddler group, a preschool class, a primary class, and a pre-youth class. Also, that year and the following year, the year after that, there were from about 12 or 14 Cambodian children that were enrolled in the Baha'i school at that time. Most of them were in the toddler and the primary and the pre-youth group. The year after that, that was 1986, 1987. 1988 was the year that the school was officially named the Daniel Jordan Baha'i School. The school committee kind of decided that we really wanted to see this school continue to grow and that it needed a name. And Daniel Jordan was a Baha'i who was from the Amherst area and a well-known educator.
So that's a good story to act on. But one thing happened, we did not get a chance to get the kids together and create and go to rehearsal and all those things. So whatever you see here,
Up with the volume.
for the teachers, that's no problem. So whatever you see here today, they'll be acting. It's all just right now we are doing it without any preparation. Okay? This is a story about elimination of prejudice.
That's right, an afternoon at the Improv.
That's right. And unity and diversity. Right, children? And the name of the story is the Temple of Light. Once upon a time, on the side of a black mountain, there was a village of people. Some of these people imagined that they were round as balls. Others thought they were as square as blocks. Then there were some who considered themselves very beautiful because they felt as long and thin as pencils, like the one Tara wearing. Now this is really very funny. The rest of them thought that to be beautiful, one must be shaped like the letter S. In order to look more than ever like the ideas they had of themselves, they squeezed and stretched and padded themselves so that even the doors of their houses and all of their furniture had to be shaped especially to fit them. Not one of these people was happy. Is anybody happy here? They fought each other all day and night. No one dared to walk down the street because the square people thought that everyone should be square. Since the round people thought everyone should be round, so they carried knives too. The tall, thin people tried to squeeze or pull everyone into a tall, thin shape.
Tara.
And the S-shaped people tried to bend everyone into a curving shape. It was a mad village. It was a mad village. One day, four sensible people, one round, One tall, one square, and one curving got together. They sat down on a stone in a meadow and said, let's consult and think of a way to stop this foolish fighting. Right away the square man jumped up. Right away the square man jumped up. I know the answer.
I know the answer.
Let us all go to the square council house
Let us all go to the square council house
and listen to the square leader.
and listen to the square leader.
He knows all the answers.
He knows all the answers.
So they all went to the square council house. But alas, only the square man could walk through.
You go back. Nobody can come in.
So only the square man could walk through the square door. The others had to sit outside and heard nothing.
What didn't you come in?
Then the round man cried, I know the answer.
I know the answer.
Let's go to the round council house.
Let's go to the round council house.
The round leader knows everything.
The round leader knows everything.
So they all went to the round council house. But alas, only the round man could roll through the round door. The others had to sit outside and heard nothing. Then the tall, thin girl, says man here, tall, thin girl persuaded them all to go to her council house. You. Though she was beginning to doubt a little bit, but of course no one could slip through the tall, thin door except tall, thin Tara. Finally, they all went to the council house of the S-shaped man. But it was very evident that this was not the way to get the answer. Then one of the four men said, let us go up into the dark mountain and ask God to give us the answer. To this the other agreed. But they were not quite sure it's going to work. They packed their knapsacks and their hatchets and started out under the morning sun. They walked all day and evening up to the dark mountain.
Guys, hey, back on stage.
Around the bird bath.
Up and up to the dark mountain. Finally, they sat down on a stone.
Okay.
Stone.
In the dark and took turns saying prayers. They prayed and then they all lay down to sleep. Suddenly the square man awoke with a start. Suddenly the square man woke up, grasping the arm of the round man, he cried,
That's the yes man.
look brother, did the moon come down to earth? The round man awoke and took hold of the tall, thin girl's arm. Wake up, sister. I think the sun has fallen. I think, he said, I think the sun has fallen into the woods. The tall, thin girl shook the S-shaped man. Tara, shake Colin. Wake up, wake up. All four men used their hatchets to cut their way toward the great round blaze of light gleaming in a distant clearing. They scrambled and tumbled, hacking their way through the brush until they stood free in the clearing. Before their eyes rose a majestic temple of light, nine-sided, yet round as the sun at its base, and round as the moon at its dome, delicately molded of such material as the eyes had never seen, radiating such light as to blind their sight. And behold, this temple contained every pattern, square, round, straight, and curving, so that without any trouble at all, each man slipped in through his own shape and found himself in a vast hall under a glowing dome. And wonder of wonders, in the light that flooded the temple, the four men could see what had been hidden from them in their village for their foolish imagination, that they were all of the same spiritual shape created so by God. As they gazed with tenderness and love into each other's faces, a gentle breeze blew through the windows. Is it fan here? And the voice proclaimed. And the voice proclaimed, regard ye not one another as strangers. Ye are the leaves of one tree, the fruits of one branch. This handful of dust, this earth, is one home. Let it be unity. The four men clasped hands and thanked God. They walked arm in arm through the wide door. With their hatchets, they began without delay to cut a path from this temple to their village at the foot of the dark mountain, so that all the people might walk easily out of the darkness where they lived, up to where the temple of light stood. There they would plan a new city in which all might live together in peace. That's it. So let me read the last paragraph anyway. God gives us each a beautiful gift, something that makes each of us different from anyone else. When we use a gift for God, then all of us grow and become beautiful as God meant us to be. We may all have different ideas, but when you work together, something wonderful comes of it.
Dana Brown. We're also giving each of the students one of the new Daniel Jordan Bahai School buttons that were designed by Gordon Knight.
Right.
Behind
One side or one side?
Yeah, this is no, Father, you can stay in there.
Yeah. Now,
There, okay.
Colin Chaudhuri.
Colin, oh, Thank you.
Riaz Dini. Jeremy Hilliard. Marissa Samimi. Andrew Schmidt. That's it for the Okay, thank you very much. This is for the youth and combined youth and tweet class. The older kids are also going to receive this small prayer book called The Love of God. Sarah Burkell.
Make her turn red right now. That's right.
Hillary Chaudhuri.
All right, babe.
Vasaldini.
All right.
Naga Mogadam. Jamie Rothbetter. And that's it for the combined youth and pre-youth class. Now each year we also present roses to people who participated in the school. This will look good on pictures, some with glasses and some without. Particular order. Mr. Chaudhuri was the music director.
All right, babe.
Carol Palm was the accompanist. Maybe she could come out and also get a rose. Carol? Okay, our primary...
Then I'll do the other side.
All right, yeah.
Dina Dini.
All right. Here's the treasure.
We provided snacks when they signed up for them, so we didn't have to worry about what we're going to eat that day. And we provided transportation for their kids, even though that was a problem every week. And I'd like to close with a prayer. Shag, if I can have my prayer book. And then we can get on with the social activities as well. Perhaps. Oops.
And Fritz was the teacher of the Free Youth and Youth class.
I imagine the
The Daniel Jordan Bahai School graduation.
حالا شما خوبه؟ شما باید نزدیک در باشین اونجا
And Haishama, we have in Butcher House, we have some low chairs.
Yeah.
We are the directors.
Hey, over here, get an interview of us.
Hey.
Ajir,
Ajir.
come on. Hey, look. Oh, look. Check his friends.
Hi, guys. We're the directors.
Why don't you guys find a different place to sit? This is going to be the stage right here. We're not going to hear very well. Kind of sit down.
You're very well lit.
Well, why don't you sit on the grass over there in the back row?
Well, I thought it was wet.
Well, that grass is wet, this grass is wet.
So much.
Don't get in your conversation. So how you doing?
Andrew, please don't hurt. Just turn around and watch the program and don't get my jacket dirty. Every time I see
I told you I should ring the bell. Sorry.
Graduation ceremony. We'll begin with 3 prayers by Andrew, Karen, and Frank. Vicky's going to lead us in a couple of songs now.
Oh, I am?
Yes, you are.
Now?
Right now.
Okay, we got enough people. What are we going to do?
Let's sit for a while, yeah.
has a responsibility in a situation like this to maintain your part. Okay? We're going to do it 4 times. Once, all together.
Hold on.
All right? And then 3 times in parts, starting here. Are you ready?
Ready.
Yes. All together? World, 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 why do you reject your Lord? When will you receive your Savior? Baha'u'llah, Baha'u'llah. Okay, you're on. World, 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 world. Not you. Good going. You're not singing. You always respond with Baha'u'llah has come, okay? And at the end, I will signal, we'll all sing together at the end of each verse, the glory of God. You ready? Can't you see the new day? Baha'u'llah has come. Can't you see the new day? Baha'u'llah has come. Can't you see the new day? Baha'u'llah has come. Yes. The glory of God. He has brought us new teaching. The glory of God. Mankind is one. Can't you see the new day? Mankind is one. Baha'u'llah has come. Mankind is one. Baha'u'llah has come. The glory of God. He has come on a cloud. Baha'u'llah has come. He has come on a cloud. Baha'u'llah has come. He has come on a cloud. Baha'u'llah has come. He's the glory of God. Wait a minute. Can't you people clap?
Want to go?
I'll do it.
Jump
I'll
on.
do it. He'll do it. Let him do it. Yes.
It's on already. It's already still going. It's still going. It's still going, Hans.
I see it. Ready? Ready? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Ready? Listening, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Ready.
Okay, now I gotta sing. Where am I?
Well, we grew up and went to school. There were certain teachers who hurt the children any way they could.
It's on. Don't do it. It's on. Hans, it's on. Hey, Dan.
Hey, man.
It's on. If you want to know.
He's on. I can see it. You can see it. This is on.
Glory of God.
I'm Demetrius, by the way, and it's like...
Hans, turn it off.
It's like Well, he stays.
This is too cool. Turn it off. I don't know how. Press the red button.
We had the honor of knowing Dan and his entire family when we lived in Northampton in the late 1960s. Late 1960s, early 1960s. He was, we tried to think about how we would describe him to somebody who hadn't known him. He was just an amazing man. The kind of a person that could hear us talk in front of a gathering like the United Nations. He could go there and then the same day come back home, put on jeans and a t-shirt and tear apart somebody's kitchen, do the plumbing. He just could do anything and was comfortable in any kind of a situation. He was a wonderful father with 3 girls. He had 2 teenage girls and then Nancy, and he had a little surprise visitor arrive late in their 40s. Little Charlotte was born. And you take over.
Well, he was also a concert pianist. I don't know if everybody knew that. He was Dean of Education at University of Massachusetts School of Education. He would open his house up to most anybody. He had people living in his garage, and there was a apartment above the garage, students that couldn't afford housing to go to school. He would let them live there and do their work there. He would tutor them so that they could get through their education. Nancy and Dan would lend out their motor vehicles to people that needed to go to the grocery store. And we often thought in the community that, my God, they really seem to overextend themselves. Being human beings, maybe maybe we guard our lives a lot, And you would think that someone that had responsibility of being on a national spiritual assembly, like the Baha'is of the United States, which Dan was, would want to also try to control the happenings in his life. But that wasn't the case. Every day, if you were at Dan Jordan's house, somebody drove in the driveway. Something had to happen, whether it was going to pick somebody up to get them to the grocery store, or very active in the local community too. Dan Jordan was on the National Spiritual Assembly, but he was also a part of the Baha'is of Northampton at that time. And he served on committees. You know how sometimes in our Baha'i communities that everything seems, sometimes it gets really hard to support the activities of the community. Well, Dan was a teacher on the National Assembly, had various other projects going, and he would help in the community activities. I know that he was I felt that he was a good friend of mine, and I do a lot of mechanical things, and I admired the way he could do carpentry and other things with his hands, and he really enjoyed it. And I talked to him one time. I said, "Gee, Dan, you play the piano, and some pianists even insure their hands so that they, if anything happens to them, they can be compensated because they couldn't earn their livelihood out of that." And I knew at one time he was just playing the piano as a livelihood. And he said, I really never thought about that because I feel that we're living that we have to live life to the fullest. And we can't be so guarded in our activities, because the important thing is when we go to the Abha kingdom that we've really done everything full throttle here. And that's what he was.
He always said that there's something in the writings where it says that you should call yourself to account each day. And he said as he got older, he appreciated that verse so much because he really tried to do that with his everyday life. He wanted to make sure that every day he did the most that he could for Bahai. And he truly did live the life that he
Take over.
Children show you what some of the things that you learned. You take this, go around in a circle, each person, and show them what you did. But walk around the circle. See Tara. That's it. Hold it like this.
Very nice.
Where's the other kids?
Take the little ones.
Very good.
Last but not least, we talked a lot about Baha'i values. We talked about sharing. We had the children color some things on sharing. And then later on, when they went back to their toys, they fought over them, so we have more to do yet, but we're working on it. We talked about forgiveness. Rob did a great experiment where he took bleach and some water and then some other things, I don't remember what it was, and he made the colors disappear, and that contrasted what, when you hold grudges against people, the water gets all murky from the colors, and then when you forgive, your soul becomes clear. We also worked on teaching the children about the Bahai calendar, about the months, and we sang songs about that, and we had hide and seek where they'd find the Bahai months on a little piece of paper. So we're working on learning the Bahai months. And anything else that you can think about that we did, Rob? And we learned a lot of songs. Rob Shamey was our guitarist, and that was a real plus. Anything else?
I think you covered most of it. Unless the kids can think of something.
Okay, thank you very much. Our next group is the primary group that was taught by Minu Mogadam and Anand Chaudhuri.
It's still my turn.
They're going to start. The kids, these children, they're going to say what they learned this past year. So, Andrew, could you start? Say it loud, please.
This year we learned about the Holy Family of Baha'u'llah. Father, Mirza Bazor. Mother, Kanora. Baha'u'llah, Mirza Hussein Ali. Wife, Asira Amina. Son of Baha'u'llah, Bas Effendi Abdul Baha. Daughter of Baha'u'llah, Yafiya Kumar, the greatest holy lady. God, a noble athlete. God, a noble athlete. We learned about religion's unity of religion. A ancient religion. Krishna, Moses, Zoroaster, Buddha, Christ, Muhammad, the Bab, Baha'u'llah. We read a lot of Baha'i stories, and we learned about Baha'is early history and the gates. And we memorized the name of 19 Baha'i monks this year. And we memorized so many verses and prayers of Baha'u'llah and Abdul Baha. This year we learned and practiced a lot of Baha'i virtues and Baha'i attributes, like courtesy, politeness, obedience, kindness, faithfulness, happiness, radiance, cleanliness, and generosity. We read and learned about guardian of the Baha'i faith, Shobi Effendi, the guardian of Abdul Baha, his wife, Monira Hanum. We know how to draw the greatest name. This year we talked about more about the Baha'i faith, and especially we talked about Martin Luther King, slavery, and we talked about friendship and forgiveness and
Excellent.
Thank you very much. That was great. Wonderful.
The next group has gone by a lot of names. I think I prefer to call it the intermediate.
We didn't do that.
I know, but I did.
Okay, here we go. You can't see it, can you? Close up. Bingo. What? Perfect. What are we doing? Marisa.
Yeah.
Each read to you some selections.
Words of wisdom by Baha'u'llah. The source of all good is trusting God. The essence of religion is to testify unto that which the Lord hath revealed. The source of courage and power is the promotion of the word of God. The essence of wealth is love.
very much.
Nice here, Gabe.
Our last of the children's classes was the youth class, and Craig Harmson is going to let us know.
Thank you. I think I'll have my spiritual superstars come up here with me. Sal, Hans, Jamie.
Here, I'll
Becca.
take you guys. How do you do it? Is it working?
This was quite a fun group to work with. As you can see, I've
This
got
zooms
a lot
in
of
and out.
personalities here and great kids. Basically, what we did, we kind of broke the class up into 3 sections. We dealt with, one was history, and we started in the beginning by asking the students what they wanted to do, and they came up with the idea that they wanted to read the Dawnbreakers. So we got through, I think, chapter 11 of the Dawnbreakers, and looked at the history of the Bahai period in a little bit more depth than they probably had up to that point. And I think that hopefully we had a little fun doing it. We had some, last week we had a little kind of a face-off type thing where we would ask questions and then they would try to answer them. And it turned out that it was a tie, so everyone got a lot out of it, I think. The other thing we did this year was we talked about the covenant, and we talked about various aspects of the covenant. What is the covenant? What makes up the covenant? Why is it unique in the Baha'i faith? What are the aspects, like, for example, the opposition to the Baha'i faith? We talked a little bit about covenant breaking. We talked about opposition and how the faith has withstood and this covenant is an unassailable thing, and I think the students got a little bit more understanding of that. In addition to that, we had topics where the students would come in and they would give a topic of their choice, and we learned about things like teaching. We had topics on teaching, on Christianity, on the greatest name. We talked about racism. What were some of the other ones? We had the holy places, but that was kind of nice because we hit on a lot of different subjects. Additionally, the class tried to deal with some issues relative or I think important to the youth, some of the social issues. We had one meeting where we talked about AIDS, and we had another meeting where we took time because of the LA situation. We talked about racism and Los Angeles and how the kids felt about that. So we tried to take an opportunity to deal with some of those issues that were important to the kids. I'd also like to say that I only had the class for about half the year. The other half of the year, they were with Fritz, and he certainly deserves a lot of credit for the leadership and the education. Is there anything else that anyone else would like to mention while we're up here, while we have the floor? No? Well, then that's about it. Thank you.
The oldest group in our school is the adult group, and maybe Bonnie could do a review of what they do.
Why don't they stand up?
The adult group worked on The Power of Unity, Beyond Racism and Prejudice, the book. We had a study guide that went along with it, so we deepened on the writings. Each week we would read from The Power of Unity, and then we worked on some discussion questions. Part of the time we would break into smaller groups if our group was very, very large, and kind of work on the discussion questions within our group and then report back. And then toward the end, we finished up The Power of Unity a few weeks before the end of the term. So we used our last couple of weeks to do a deepening on Baha'i parenting, on Baha'i education, to try to kind of help the parents with their very, very important job of raising children, and to kind of give a little bit about the philosophy of the Daniel Jordan Baha'i School and the job that we're doing with our youth. It was a wonderful year. the power of unity, I think that the adults would agree that the book really helped us to see the importance of this most challenging issue and how we really need to look at racism within ourselves and within our community and not just verbally say, this is not right, you need to have unity, but we need to really look for opportunities to teach unity. We need to really be aware of the time now in our society, in our community, and how we as Bahai have such an important role to play in bringing about this unity. Thank you. Oh, next year, the adult class, and actually all of the classes, are going to be deepening on Baha'u'llah because of the Holy Year. And the adult class is going to be using the new book, Baha'u'llah, and there are some copies of it available on the table up on the porch. So if you haven't gotten your copy yet, get it so you'll be ready for September.
What we'd like to do now is recognize all of the students individually, the children anyway. So we'd like Saeed to come up, and he and the teachers of each one of the classes will present certificates to each of the kids.
Don't open your
Darlene, we're going to start with your group.
Do it now.
Before we start basically giving out the certificates as well as the books, I would like to mention that this is the 6th year that I first mentioned that the school has been established on 1987, and of course this is through the Bahai community of Springfield. The assembly helped the formation of a committee, that the committee comprised of the chairperson Bonnie Brown, and of course the secretary Fritz Schmidt, Nino Dini was a member, Minu Muqaddam was also a member, and in the past we have had Dr. Kimber as a member, as well as Vicky Chaudhuri. So I would like to acknowledge their effort because in the past 6 years they worked very, very hard to bring about a school that started with only a handful of the students, and now we have had 63 people registering this past year. So we have flourished basically as far as growing the school is concerned. We have some books. Are we going to do that? I think we can read the names and then we will pass on the certificates to the older.
Okay. Kimberly Schmidt and Elizabeth Monk, who managed to sleep through almost every class, and she's home sleeping today. Baby. So here is your certificate, Tara. Congratulations on completing your year in Okay. Christina, congratulations on your completing the year at Bahai Children's School. Talk to your principal. No. I'm sure they'll correct it.
Well, we have to talk to the person.
Mommy's mistake.
Mommy made a mistake.
As usual, we have a child who's almost disappeared. Nicholas is coming. Kimberly? Kimmy? Here's your certificate, honey, for coming.
I'm the cameraman.
Okay, get the one. What? He gets one.
Nicholas, you get one.
Let's go find Nicholas.
Yeah, he's left.
Okay.
Everything you say is recorded.
Okay, I guess.
Every single thing you say.
Nino and Anand?
So would you please be very quiet about that?
They get those. Nino and Anand?
You're gonna have to take over when I go up. Open your mouth, open your mouth. Hey.
All right.
Congratulations, Dominique.
Colin Chaudhuri.
face. Let's get the face.
Very good
There
job.
we go.
Bravo. Excellent job.
There we go. Scrub. Scrub.
Sanam Hakim. Sara Hakim. Jeremy Hilliard is not here. And Andrew Schmidt.
I'm sorry, I didn't know where it was.
Good job.
Good job. Good, good, good.
Thank you. Good job.
Turn it off.
Kara Harmson. And Emily Richter. Also in my class who were not able to attend this morning were Hillary Chaudhuri.
I'd like to recognize Hans Harmson. Great job. Shaka Mahagadam.
Shaka
Can't even get up.
Congratulations. There you go.
Good.
Okay, and Jamie.
Dave.
Bonnie and Saeed are going to do the presentations for the teachers and staff.
Okay, we'll start with Saeed.
That's all right.
Music director Rico Chaudhuri, please. Accompanied Patty Harmson, please. Early childhood Darlene Monk and Sarah Hidayat Zade.
Oh, yeah.